Welcome back, John. I hope you're having a great day. Today we're going to be talking about what it's like to transition from a gas-powered car to an electric vehicle, starting out with charging at home. So typical overnight charging can take 7 to 9 hours depending on your battery size. Typical battery sizes today range from 60 to 120 kilowatt hours. Charging every night ensures that you have optimal range every day. Just don't charge to 100% unless your battery pack is rated for it, such as a Tesla LFP battery pack. 20 to 90% is the state of charge that is optimal, where the battery won't get damaged over time. Normal batteries, basically every other EV other than an LFP pack. Always keep a reserve of at least 20 to 30% for emergencies. Suddenly get hurt or something at home, or when you're out, you got to go to the hospital, you got to go X, Y, and Z. Next thing we're going to do is talk about charging on road trips. So there are 38,000 supercharger location stalls located all over the world, with a few thousand of those being in the United States. Tesla can update all of their locations to unlock faster charging speeds if they really want, which they're going to. Tesla recently mentioned in the semi-delivery video they will update their chargers to be 1 megawatt, which is impressive. You also have the options for third-party fast charging, which is a gamble, because let me tell you about third-party chargers real quick. You buy anything other than a Tesla, let's say you buy a Porsche Taycan Turbo S or something, because it's really nice, it's built properly and everything like that. The big problem is the fact that when you go to a third-party charger, not all of them work. Not all of them are going to actually be fast chargers. Not all of them are 350 kilowatt hours. Not all of them are 250 kilowatt hours. Most of them are around 75 to 150 kilowatt hours, and that's pretty freaking slow whenever you have a big battery to charge up. And that's if you can even get the charger running, because most of the charging stalls you have to already have an account, which means you're going to add time to your charging the first time you get there. It's going to be a pain in the ass unless you have a Tesla where you could just go and charge and plug in. Everything's already paid for and everything like that. Your credit card's already attached to the file when you get the car and everything like that. It's all just perfectly set up. And yes, Tesla's biggest problem right now is build quality. Every other company is exceeding them in that, but Tesla is killing them where it matters, in the actual infrastructure and driving. Kind of impressive, because you really didn't think a software company would actually be able to pull this off. But here we are. So regarding charging, yes, this is probably one of the biggest problems you are going to face whenever you are buying an EV that is a non-Tesla, because Tesla did open their superchargers in different countries to open EVs and stuff that have the same charge port and everything like that. But it's so much further away than you think, having actual open Tesla superchargers being the charging network for America or anybody else for that matter, because the infrastructure is just not completely there. It's pretty close, but it's just, for everybody to have an electric car, we're not even close. But for the people that do want to go buy an electric car, you know, it's kind of a small percentage right now. It's only like 2 to 3% are EVs, but still a massive amount. You need places to charge these things, and you really need to take into consideration how you're going to charge your cars. Yes, you really want a Porsche Taycan. I know you really want a Lucid Air Dream Edition. That's $250,000. Everything's built better. Everything's just better. I understand that. But your actual luxury experience, whenever you go to a charger and it's not working, what is that going to be like? The car's going to feel like a piece of metal that you can't even use anymore. It's the most redundant thing ever. So please keep in mind, before buying an EV, just consider Tesla's supercharger network for that. I know Tesla may not be your first pick. I know it. We might have to settle for now, and then whenever the years roll by and everything is in place, you can go buy your dream car. But it's really hard to do that now, because hell, I wanted the Porsche Taycan, and I realized, like, shit, this is not a good idea because of all the third-party charging fiascos and everything like that. So please keep that in mind. Next up, let's talk about electricity cost. So depending on the location, electricity can be ridiculously expensive. 13 cents to almost 50 cents per kilowatt hour, almost to the point of where filling up your battery can cost as much as a modern day tank of gas, about $70 to $100. The bigger the battery, the higher the bill. More power means more money. Getting the right size for your specific use case is important, so you're not wasting power and you're not wasting electricity. The more power you use, the higher the bill. States where energy is limited, electric cars can make almost no sense. Filling up a battery can be almost $80 to $100, which that's bull. Next up, we're going to talk about core driving feel, starting with internal combustion engine cars. Basically what happens in that car is you apply the throttle. The engine has to rev up to give the power, so the transmission has to downshift when moving. Take that out of the equation, power delivery from a dead stop, no 3-second brake boost or anything like that, because that defeats the purpose of your reaction timing. Your engine will still have to build boost and get into its power band. Some cars also have turbos that need a second or 3 to spool up and dump boost to give you the torque that you need to do the same amount of acceleration that you could from an electric powertrain, but the electric car can do this 3 to 4 seconds ahead of you, basically. You better have a lot of horsepower to even keep up with Tesla's slow lowest performance branded car, the Tesla Model 3 Performance, which has about 500 horsepower and 660 newton meters of torque. So 0 to 60 happens at around 3.1 seconds. You'd need a powerful German super saloon or basically any project car to even do the deed of the Model 3 Performance. And that's the peasant version. This is not even talking about the Model S Plaid or the 1100 horsepower Lucid Air Dream Edition or even the 1900 horsepower Rimac Nevera. Closest ICE car you have in, stock form is the Ferrari SF90 Stradale, which is a hybrid. Funny cars can beat them. Obviously the cars with like 4,000 horsepower, they can go for about 4 seconds. Yeah, obviously you're going to beat them in a straight line. Supercars with twin turbo kits can beat them, but we're talking about a car you can just go out and buy and do these kind of things repeatedly. We're not talking about having a 4,000 horsepower car that you have to rebuild pretty much every time you use it, or every other time you use it. Just like Doug DeMura said, this is just a car a dude can buy. Like, the Plaid Model S, that's a car a guy can just go out and buy. Doesn't have to build anything, doesn't have to do anything. You could just write a check, do a wire transfer, anything like that, and suddenly you have access to 1,020 horsepower, which is basically going to step on any other production car made, except for the Rimac Nevera. That thing is absolutely going to clobber the Plaid, and pretty much any super bike. Electric cars just have such smooth power delivery. That's why even the highest end luxury cars are trying to switch over to electric. It's just different. It's so much different. It's so much smoother. It's so much more powerful. However, the problem with that is luxury cars are going to start to feel like $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 regular electric cars, and it's going to kind of suck. They're going to have to find some kind of differentiation in the motors that they're going to be using and just throttle mapping and everything. So I don't know what luxury cars are going to do. I'm going to make a whole video about this. What do you think? Down in the comments below. Would you like your Rolls Royce, your $450,000 Rolls Royce Spectre, to basically drive like a Tesla Model 3 Performance? It's going to ride a lot smoother. It's going to be in a lot better materials and everything like that. It's not even comparable when it comes to materials and build quality and everything like that. But I'm talking about actual driving experience. Is it going to be any different? Is it going to be the same? What do you think? No, obviously everything can't be focused towards electric cars here. Not everything good about electric cars. Gas-powered cars do have the benefit over electric cars in terms of handling and overall steering feel and everything like that, because Tesla steering, EV steering feels very sharp, yes, but it's to compensate for the fact that the vehicles are so heavy. Unless it's a Model 3, Teslas are pretty heavy. The Model 3 weighs about 4,000 pounds. Yeah, the Model 3 Performance is around 4,100 pounds. I get that. And the thing I do have to bring up about this is steering and handling. So Teslas have very sharp steering. It's basically M3 level steering. It feels extremely sharp, but the problem is BMW M3s are so much lighter than Tesla Model 3s, so they're going to outhandle the Model 3s pretty easily. I'm not saying by a lot, because these Model 3s can handle pretty damn well. Driven a new Model S with the air suspension and the adaptive air suspension, it actually holds on pretty well, but you notice the weight. It's a very big car, and this unfortunately goes for all electric vehicles. They are all very heavy because of the batteries, because of the raw materials and everything like that. They're just very naturally heavy cars, so unless companies can do something to make these things significantly lighter and more efficient and more powerful and everything like that, we're kind of in a rut here. But I do have faith in humanity a little bit. I have faith in technology a little bit. I have faith that people can make the correct advancements and make the proper decisions with everything that they have. Who knows, maybe we will actually see an electric car outhandle a gas-powered car and also be way quicker in a straight line. That would be really cool if you could actually get a combo of both, straight line performance and handling like a car should be.
Next up, we're going to talk about storage advantages. So no engine in the front compartment means there is room for a frunk, which is a front trunk, or if you're in the UK, it's a fruit, which is a front boot. Do be cautious about which EV you choose, because not all EVs do have these. Like some of the Audi e-tron models and other EVs, they kind of just use that space for guts and internals, which means you miss out on the extra space that you could use for some duffel bags. And this is usually an above average amount of storage, because some EVs have a trunk, rear folding seats, and even under trunk storage for vehicle cables and any survival supplies that you may carry, leaving you still with the rest of the trunk backseat area. And these things have tons of storage. Some ICE cars do as well. However, they have a spare wheel there usually, or an air compressor, but EVs, they kind of pass on that for some reason, because apparently Teslas have such good roadside assistance that you could just get your vehicle towed and they'll put a new wheel and tire on the next day. EVs have normalized the massive amounts of storage, since the drivetrain can be packed into an area beneath the floor, and motors sit on the rear and front axle in all-wheel drive cases. And some cases there are hub motors, which give even more free space. It is just nuts when you think about it. If you ever see a electric vehicle drivetrain by itself, it's actually pretty interesting, because everything is within the axles, all the weight's within the axles. They handle so much better than you think. Yes, they're heavy, but they do actually handle well. They steer very sharply. At least the performance models of EVs, not just performance Teslas. There are other EVs that actually handle pretty damn well. Like the Porsche Taycan Turbo S is probably the best handling EV I have ever even laid eyes on or even driven. So take the Rivian R1T for example. It's a pretty large truck capable of doing whatever a 3500 size can do. do in the body of a 1500. Although they don't put an 8-foot bed like most people do, and most people would want on a truck, they have rear folding seats in the passenger compartment to expand 6.5-foot bed into an 8-foot bed. Pretty good thinking. Rivian also uses an automatic bed cover, which is the tonneau cover, to avoid the elements or people breaking in or anything like that, just to hide everything. They also have what's called a gear tunnel, which is a pass-through storage area under and behind the rear passenger compartment. No bulky mechanics impede your ability to store as much as possible in a vehicle you paid at least $20,000 over original MSRP because the brand decided to do a price hike so they don't go bankrupt when scaling.
And just like that, this video is over because my MacBook storage is completely full. So yeah, part 2 is coming soon. Thank you so much for watching.